Well, hello, SPAC friends and family. It is shortly after 2 o'clock here on the West Coast, and it's Tuesday. So you know it must be time for SPAC Chat Live. And we've got a great program for you today. I would like to start it off with welcoming all of the new people to our community who have recently registered for SPAC 2025. I see so many of you joining our community on our Facebook private group, on the Hoover app, all the notifications, the Break the Ice. People are setting up meetups, and everybody is saying hello to Len. Anyways, my number one tip for you right now is figure out how to work your navigations and your notifications. Sometimes Len will be saying hello to every single person who registers, and you might not want your phone to go off every 5 minutes. So just look for that notification, but please don't ignore some of them. Some of them are very important announcements as we get closer, 11 weeks away from what is guaranteed to be one of the best SPACs ever. I mean, we're celebrating 70 years, but besides that, we've got a lot of things planned for you. So if you have any questions about the Hoover app itself, there are a lot of guides that I have been sending out to you. It's a 10-minute video, walks you through how to put things on your personal calendar, which will then set a reminder so you don't miss a class. Also, how to read session descriptions about our speakers, how to find out about more meals. We will be adding more and more information as we get closer. But the one thing I would like to mention to you all is make note of the 2 extra special opportunities you have on Tuesday, which is the day before the conference starts. We have 2 things planned. The first thing is an excursion out to the Valley of Fire. Now, Calvin just jumped on here because we had to go and do some exploratory to figure out where we were going to park these buses and where we were going to take you. So we had a little field trip out to the Valley of Fire. And Calvin, in 3 words or less, what did you think? Okay, you're muted, Calvin. That didn't help. I should know better, right?
No, man, no. It's 4 syllables in 1 word, but it works, right?
Yes,
we were unbelievable. It was absolutely gorgeous. I hadn't been there in almost 50 years. And it's just much better than it was when I was a little boy. I wasn't quite as into it, shall we say. But it's a beautiful place, and it's going to make some beautiful sample pictures. If people, you've got models coming that are going to be there with them, so they're going to have the opportunity to photograph them. There's going to be a short seminar that's going to be provided as a part of that excursion. This is something brand new that SPAC has introduced this year. Corey has kind of insisted on us doing something a little bit different outside of the box. And so this is something that the board said, let's go for it. And I think it's going to pan out extremely well. The seating is limited, though, isn't it?
Yes, we are limited to the amount of available spots. So if you're thinking about it, I wouldn't hesitate. Your price includes the charter bus, box lunch, water, the speaker, everything. All you need to do is make sure you wear comfortable shoes and bring your camera. Like I said, we will have models there, and the dress that we have figured out for them to wear is just going to look amazing against those red rocks. It's just an amazing place to be. It feels very zen. You'll have some time to explore and maybe take your own photos. It's quite easy. The trails are not really hard. There are some harder hiking trails, but there are some very easy ones as well. And it is not a hard walk to the spot where the speaker will be speaking. So don't worry about that. Now, the other thing we've got planned is we traditionally did a golf tournament, and it was a lot of fun for about 48 people who went around and hit a little ball everywhere, but you were kind of stuck with the foursome you had, not much networking until the end. And so everyone kept on saying, Corey, is this a way we can change it up this year? And well, Atomic Golf has been only open for 6 months. It's brand new to Vegas. It's a variation of Top Golf. So we just did a buyout. So we will be doing Atomic Golf Experience. We still will have the longest drive competition taking place in one of the dedicated bays. There's other games you can play. And this guy over here, although he says he doesn't golf very well, he certainly schooled us all. We all lost to Calvin, who came in first place in both games that we played when we practiced.
Just stop. I don't golf. I don't golf. It just happens to be that. No, these are just, sometimes we get the question of, well, what does this going out on this excursion have to do with volume photography? There is a reality that while volume is what we do on a day-to-day basis, between the hours of 7 a.m. and 10 p.m. at night, maybe, there are elements and people in our organization that absolutely love doing artistic style photography. Hell, a lot of us got started there and then moved into the volume market. So while this is kind of outside of the bailiwick that I personally have been engaged in for many years, it's directly involved, or it directly relates to many of the people that are coming into the volume area that are adding volume as an adjunct to their studio or their personal services component of their business. So I'm excited about what we've put together and what the team has put together. And it just looks like it's going to be a phenomenal event. Corey, we're also way up right now on attendee registration, are we not? Where are we with registration?
We are actually on course to set another record again this year. Fabulous. Which is not surprising. It's our 70th anniversary, so don't delay, folks. The other thing I want to mention here is we've talked about Tuesday. Those are also great work-life balance. I mean, if you're going to make a business trip out of this, you might deserve a day of fun. And it's a great opportunity to network and get to know people. Now, on Wednesday, everyone says, Corey, the conference doesn't start till the kickoff party. And that's correct. The kickoff party really is the kickoff of the conference. But we do offer what is called pre-conference tracks. And everyone says to me, what are those? It is an additional registration. Those are single classes that stand alone that are longer than the 60 or 90-minute class you're going to get in the rest of the week. This is a deep dive into a subject. So this year, we, of course, have got the sales training back because everybody needs to brush up on their sales skills. So maybe you're the photographer, but maybe you have a sales rep in your company. It is worth the money to invest and bring them here and get professional training. We also have a class dedicated to PickSnub. PickSnub is getting a lot of traction in our industry. And it's hard to sometimes get your questions answered. That's going to be set up in kind of a workshop format. So you can bring your computer, you can work on a project, and you can get one-on-one guides, maybe on your pain points. Same thing goes with Blueprint. We've got Lance Sullivan and Lee Simmons coming on board, and they're going to be talking about how do you shoot your day and get your images all online within one day. And it's kind of a Blueprint workflow kind of model there as well. We will also have a high-end sports track being taught by Bob and Cheryl. That's amazing. We also have a smaller model of training for results. Now, this again is a wonderful employee from the Barksdale Studios, and they're coming about how do you train your employees to get the results you want. That's another phenomenal class. But really, what I'm really excited about is bringing you today our featured speakers today, our bread and butter of SPAC, which is Volume 101. Why do I call it bread and butter? Because this class is perfect for everyone who is entering into the volume business. Maybe you're going from sports to adding schools, or your schools and now you're adding sports, or you've been a wedding photographer and you just got your first school, or you've been in business for like 7 years, but never really learned the proper steps on how to get it all done. So we have what is called our Volume 101 class this year. It's an all-day intensive class with a great panel of highly phenomenal speakers. I've got two of them here for you today representing the school and the sports side. So I'm going to bring in Mark.
We got three. I think we got three. And Mark is embarrassing us all.
Like Norking meeting? Yeah.
You know, and Mark, official attire for this organization is no longer suits and ties. That was back in the beginning. You know what I mean, man? We have to be more. We have to act like we're young with open collars and that sort of thing now. No, you look good, guys.
Thanks.
Hey, Dave. I think you're in, but you're on the wrong camera because you're in on two sides. There we go. Thank you, Corey, for fixing it. Hey, you guys. It is so wonderful to see you guys. I look very much forward to seeing you in a few weeks. I think we're 11 weeks out. It's an amazing, this year has flown by, and here we are at the precipice of another special event for our organization. We've got Mark Hummerding, we've got Mike Norkin, and we've got Dave Stock. These are three veterans in our industry that have been willing to share insights and information at all times. They are what we expect people that associate with SPAC to be. They are leaders in our industry, and we really appreciate them taking the time out today to be with us. So let's talk about each of your programs that you're going to be putting on. And I'm not sure if some of you are working together to put a program on, but you're going to be putting on some intensive workshops prior to the actual conference beginning, and it has real value. I don't even know what the cost of the pre-cons are, but it's how do you pay $50-$60 for a class and get to talk to experts in whatever industry it is? That's a tremendous value that we've been able to bring. And we do it because all of these people, just like they're doing today, they volunteer to be a part of the association and to be a part of the team that teaches trade techniques and business information to the entire organization. So let's kick it off with Mark, because he was here first. And, he says president in his title, so we want to make sure we start with the president. It's an election day, Mark.
Hail to the chief, Mark.
Hail
Thanks,
to the chief.
Mike. So Mike and I and we have other friends too, just not the two of us, but we put on this last year as well, and then Dave suggested that we bring in sports into it, and so that's how this evolved. So we did this last year. We had a good time doing it, putting it together, and we just go over kind of A to Z for what it's like to be involved with volume photography. So yeah.
And then you're going to be covering not just volume schools, and that encompasses a whole lot there. Schools, elementary, high, middle, preschool, as well as high school seniors, I presume. I would hope that there'll be some information on graduation ceremonies. There's a whole genre of business within the school market. And then we're going to are you also combining a sports component with that?
Yep. That's
okay. So you're covering it all.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
And it's not like Mike doesn't do sports. I mean, he does a lot of sports. So,
yes,
key part of his business.
Yes, he does.
Calvin, I think the main focus for everyone to understand is we're not teaching how to take a picture. We're not teaching the fundamentals of photography. We are going to discuss the best tips, tricks, concepts, ideas to help push your business to the next level. One of the greatest compliments actually kind of got thrown onto a Facebook page somewhere when we were answering and having a conversation just as a general group of individuals, and someone came on and said, hey, Mike and Mark, I attended your class last year and my business is thriving because of the information that you gave us. And we've had that repeated probably 4 or 5 times over the course of the last 12 months, that people who sat in and look, there's going to be 6 hours of content, 98% of it will be Mark talking, maybe Dave and I will get a moment to share. But inside of all that,
where's the bus? Just throw him under it, okay?
Yeah.
Hold on, I haven't backed up over him yet. But at the end of the day, there's going to be something for everyone. And I think from Calvin to your point, or it was Corey to her point, where whether you're first time, you're a beginner, literally this is your first time kind of stepping in, or you've been someone in the industry for a long time. We kind of throw out a lot of really great tips, and someone who's been here 10 or 15 years will walk away with an aha moment, and someone who's brand new to this will walk away with many aha moments. And really the cool thing, and I don't think there's any one of us that are on the panel that have a problem answering very direct and succinct questions, no matter what the question is. We've gone into financials, we've gone into planning. We may have to protect ourselves from certain things, but for the most part, we're an open book, and I believe the reason why people enjoy our class is because we're very real and we don't talk about ourselves, and that's really kind of a cool thing. You go to where SPAC is amazing, where we're actually teaching things. You go to some other industry types of seminars like this, and it's all about how wonderful I am and how wonderful my sponsor is. And none of that really takes place here. You've got some really dedicated individuals that are in this industry that want to see it thrive, and we are here to give back. And I think that's really what the special part of SPAC is. It's filled with people just like us who want to make sure that everyone else has a really cool and unique opportunity to grow their business. And so we're here to help do that. And you got some of the best people here to help.
It's one of those things where it is and has been developed into a true community where people contribute, and those that quite frankly have the most or have the most experience are willing to give back to make sure that those that are coming in can do the job right. One of the things we oftentimes see, and you guys see it on social posts, and that is, I've just gotten my first school. How do I do it?
Yeah.
Huh? Or my first, I just booked a league. It's my first one. Can you tell me what your settings are on your camera? Whoa. You're in way over your head. You were in over your head before you started writing that note. This is the type of thing, these types of sessions, the one that you're putting on and the others that will go on throughout the conference, they're the type of thing that give you a foundation so that you can have success. Because when you start failing, it's not an easy thing to come back from the outset. Dave, how are you jumping into this whole thing? Because you've been doing sports for many years.
Well, I was frustrated last year because I was doing Sports 101 and Sports 102 with Jay Boatwright. And we had people coming up to us and saying, great session, but I also wanted to go and see the guys in the room next door, which would be Norkin and Hammerding and Rob Locke. And I know that they had some people who went to their session and said it was absolutely awesome. They came to me at the booth afterwards and said, dang, I wanted to go to yours too. And I thought, you know what? With 38% of the people at SPAC each year on the average, being relatively new, at least new to SPAC, doesn't mean they're new to photography, but it means they're relatively new to business possibly. Why do we make them choose when they only have one shot at us? And I thought, conceptually, the best things that ever happened to SPAC, in my opinion, weren't any of the sessions, frankly. It was when you accidentally sat down at a dinner table and you happened to sit down with a Mark Hammerding or a Calvin or a Mike, and in between running each other down, because we don't talk about ourselves, we just make fun of others. In between doing that, there would be something you come away from that meeting with that you go, oh my God, that's going to change my business. And, it is absolutely impossible for us, no matter how much experience we have in basically 4.5 hours time, to cover all the areas we need to cover to get you off to fast start. At the same time, keep the veterans entertained if we're drilling down and doing details. So this is not an intensive course from a detail standpoint. Conceptually, in my mind, this is more like you happen to, by chance, sit down with one of these guys and you're able to pick their brain for a bit, and you don't get one, you get 5. There's Alex also, who's awesome. He works with Mike, and he's actually the reason Mike's awesome. It's Alex. But we either have an Alex or we have a wife, one or the other, that is the key to our success. But what we want to do is maximize that time. And the things I think that anyone in the room can learn most from are our biggest failures and our biggest successes. So if someone sat down and says, I've got 10 minutes, I'm getting started, give me a couple ideas that's going to change my business, that's going to speed me forward a year or 2 or a couple months. Tell me a couple things not to do. And we're going to have, specific things we're going to talk about too. But frankly, we haven't been able to coordinate this together and get together and organize it, but we're going to do that. We're going to do a great job. But basically, it's just a chance for us to get in front of you guys and tell you about a bunch of things that work and some things that don't work. Specifically, in looking at big companies, and these other guys are all legends in building huge companies, I've got a couple things to say to people. First of all, you don't have to be huge to be good or to be happy or be successful. You can be a mom and pop without a mom, which is what I am. And you can, depending on how you define success, you can have a very happy life and a nice income too. So we as a society get caught up in idea be bigger, bigger, bigger each year. We have to grow more and more and more. And some people, it puts them out of business, and some people, it makes them miserable. So I am the token representative of a mom and pop where I am the janitor all the way up to the CEO. When telemarketers call my office, they say, I want to speak to the CEO. I go, sorry, you got the janitor. Make your pitch. But that's going to be our talk. And then what I've seen in these big companies, starting with Life Touch and working their way down, is they have not done a good job of leveraging the opportunity they have to also do sports. They all do sports, but all I do is sports. And I've done the school side, so I know why I don't want to do that. And I think I can help them with some strategies for expanding their school business, for prospecting, for keeping their current customers. And I can show them how with one photographer who's had 3 weeks of experience and 2 assistants, you can gross 13,000 in an hour, or about 2 hours and 20 minutes, doing 450 kids on a school setup, basically 2 lights and a backdrop. So I've got some video of that, and that's going to show where the bar is kind of set if you're small and want to do pretty good.
Yeah. One of the kicker words that you said, and I think it's something that we all of us has been there, and that's the word failure. So often people beat themselves up because they blew a job. Trust me, jobs have been blown since the beginning of time. Hell, we had film and we would blow a job and couldn't recover anything. So, I call the failure quotient, or the cost of failure, is what education costs. You're either going to get educated or you're going to fail. And that failure, let's go a little soft on the failure side, but you're going to make mistakes on the way to getting to perfection. It's just a process that we all have to go through. And so many people throw in the towel because I can't do it. This is just horrible. What's going to happen to me? My world, the sky is falling because that package is late, or because these 3 parents out of these 400 parents have called and complained. It's less than 1%, folks. Anybody will work with those numbers in a customer service field for any business. So don't beat yourself up because something doesn't go right. Figure out how to navigate around it and solve the problem, and then don't let it happen the next time. And you're going to be in a better place. That's just my mindset on it. So, Mark, are you going to be more specific to the school side, or are you going to cover just the general business principles of operating?
One of the things is, you talked earlier in the introduction about, starting from weddings and portraits, and I was running a studio 20, 30 years ago, and I said, how hard can this be? And I got in the school market, and it was harder than I thought. So for me now, I've got other people that need to be taking pictures, and while I'm practicing the craft of owning a business, if you will. So that's kind of the approach I'm going to take in terms of how we structure things to make sure that we have efficient workflow, and that we can photograph, say, 400 or 500 kids in a school in the morning and have those images out to parents later that day. So you talked about like Blueprint, they're going to have a thing on how to get your stuff live that day. We currently are doing that with Blueprint. So we'd be an example of that, where we set up that structure in order to have that success. And by the way, I met Mike I met Mike and Dave through SPAC. And I sat in one of Mike's sessions and called him up afterwards and said, hey, you're using Blueprint. And we started talking, we became friends. And then I met Dave at a thing at SPAC, and I brought him up to Detroit, and we watched a football game together, and he trained my sports photographers. So that kind of collaboration for me is really critical to having my business grow and learning from these fellow experts at the same time.
And Mark, you kicked on something there, and I want to make sure we focus, not necessarily extensive focus, but understand: are we working on our business, or are we working in our business? Hopefully, this is an opportunity this week of sessions. Or it's not quite a week for the general body, but that particular time frame and this particular conference is about you as a business owner and as a photographer working on the business rather than working in the business. Anybody can work in the business. That's what you hire personnel to do, work in the business. But as a business owner, we have to understand that we've got to work on the business and navigate all of the challenges that come with that. It's a plethora of things that we have to manage and deal with in the arena of running and operating a business,
And
especially
so-
when you're scaling in the way that I know Mike and Mark have both scaled in the past few years. It's been a phenomenal. They've been phenomenal. I certainly hope that sales is a strong component, but it's also marketing. Marketing and sales is a strong component in your sessions. So we're going to find out, though. We'll have to be there to see, won't we?
Yeah, well, one of the things you said, the market working on or in,
Yeah.
it's sometimes it's both, right? When you're working in,
Yeah.
you're working as an employee. When you're working on, you're working as the owner, right? Two different things. And so a lot of times when I'm showing up, I'll say, this is the only camera I'm bringing is my iPhone. And that's so I can catch people doing a good job, and I'm going to move on to the next issue that I have to address as the owner. So we'll be talking about conceptualizing how to structure your business and be successful in that.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Hey guys, you got anything else to add? Because it's a powerful, it's putting this triumphant, this group of three. And Dave, you said there's going to be 5 of you?
Yeah, well, we have Mike's sidekick, of course, and I believe we have
Yeah.
Rob Locke too. And Rob was
Yes.
one of the 3 main speakers last year, and
Sure.
he is one of the legends in this business as far as being a huge company builder as well, and a great guy. So I just got to say right now, I'm looking at the screen with these other 3 faces, and I'm thinking, these are 3 of my closest, probably 8 or 10 friends in this business, and it is just so cool to be able to share a stage with you guys and share time with you guys. And SPAC is responsible for bringing together so many people, and it's been both valuable professionally and it's been valuable personally. So it's awesome.
Well, that's
Yeah,
the mission. That's the
Well, I
mission.
was going to say, Calvin, I would echo what Dave just said. And at the end of the day, even if it's not necessarily about the lesson or the content that you're coming to learn, it's the rapport and the relationships that we build at SPAC as peers. And it's not like most of us who, let's say, have a spouse at home who works in a different industry. They don't really understand our business. People around us don't understand the volume. So when we come home after working a 16, 18-hour day at the beginning of the school year and we want to bang our head against the wall, I don't come home and have that conversation with my wife. I pick up the phone and I cry in Mark's shoulder when he answers the phone, and he'll call and check in on me, and we'll talk amongst ourselves, the group of individuals that are on both coasts in the middle of the country. I'm able to ask questions, seek guidance, and have real talk, which is ultimately, I don't need people to tell me, like my employees, they'll tell me what I want to hear. I don't need to hear that. I need to be told from people who understand what the hell I'm telling them, what I need to do differently, how I need to be better, where I need to go so that I don't make the same mistakes. And so at minimum, even if you learn nothing from the 75 or 80 years of experience that will be in that class teaching, you will build a relationship with someone else in that room that will guide you. And Calvin has heard this multiple times from me. I started coming to SPAC in 2011 and I haven't stopped. Not necessarily because I'm there to learn, but because I'm there to see my friends. I'm there to help teach others. I believe that in 2011, when I had 16 schools, people believed in me and guided me and pushed me to be bigger and better than I was then. And so now my job is to give back. And so we're here to inspire. We're here to push you and challenge you to be your best. None of it is going to be like, oh my God, they made all of this great information up. We're just here to show you what really works, right? It's not a secret, but sometimes you just got to get slapped in the face with the obvious so that you can go, duh, like what was I doing? Why did I do it that way? And what I think now, Calvin, is you're going to need to extend our time instead of 9 to 3, 9 to about 9 p.m. Because with as much as Dave is now going to be contributing, we're going to need that extra time because I need at least 4 hours just for my own stuff. So good luck with that.
Uh-oh, here you go. Come on now. That's up to you and your committee to put it together, all right?
See, Corey came in. She's like, uh-oh, we're in trouble.
Yeah, I got to make sure things are all right here between you guys. I'm sure that there's going to be plenty of information that you're going to be able to disseminate a lot of information. And to distill it even further down, they'll have conversations with you after the fact or with others after the fact, because now they have a guide as to what type of questions they should be asking. Because oftentimes folks don't know what questions to ask, and one of the beautiful things that I truly appreciate is there's no ego in the conversations, in the discussions, and in the presentations. The ego is set to the side, and we're here to support and provide information for you. So it's a beautiful, for me, that's a beautiful component of our entire group.
So a question for you, Cal. Corey, is it $50 for the pre-cons, or is it 100?
You're mute. You're mute. You're mute.
I can't read lips. I'm sorry.
She said it's
100?
free for the
Okay.
first 200 attendees.
Okay. Okay.
The pre-cons that are all day are $149. The other ones are $99. We moved to some bigger rooms, so we're doing pretty good. The other thing I want to mention quickly is during Wednesday, during your pre-con lunch break, we are going to have what's called a workflow walkthrough, which our attendees for years have been asking me to set up some sort of shooting pods side by side so they can see the capture, the camera, the backdrop, the lighting differences. So we actually are going to make this a reality this year. And we've got some great vendors all on board. And we're going to be getting more information about the shooting pods that's already included in your regular registration. But it's going to be a great hands-on so you can see side-by-side differences. Hello, Chris Garcia. Hello, Bill. I wonder if he's on his boat. Probably not at this point.
No, not this time of year.
Okay.
It's too cold in Ohio, but yes. The other thing I'm going to jump in and say, I'm going to jump in and say one thing. What I love about SPAC is that you guys embrace the fact that there's not one right way to do it. There are different ways to do it. It's finding what works best for you. And I love that about SPAC because there's so many different solution providers out there. So I love that. Now, Dave, what were you going to say?
I was just going to say, okay, so I was doing the math, $150. I'm going to go out on a limb and make a commitment on behalf of the 5 of us doing this course. We each will guarantee you that over the course of 5 hours, we'll give you one $30 idea each, so you break even. Okay. All right. So
that's analytics.
I only have $2 ideas though, Dave. So you're making me
the
work.
rest of us
All
will
right,
give
you'll
you
make up for it in
$40
time,
ideas,
Mike. You'll talk enough to get $2 ideas out there.
Well, but on the other hand, Mike, can I send my $2?
Done.
I'll send a lot of them.
Let's go.
No, I can't. Obviously, I can't say enough because I've been around forever. But it is the programming is just continued to evolve and improve and expand, and the numbers of people that we have as attendees, as vendors, even our vendor count, we are sold out and still have a waiting list. And the vendors trade show area is larger than it was previously. We know that we're doing something right for the industry, and that is really one of the critical driving components of our entire organization. So I want to thank you again, you guys, for being there, supporting us for the years that you have. You're expecting your continued support and engagement. Corey, what other announcements do you have at the end of the day, dear?
Nothing. If you haven't booked your hotel room, book it quick because our room block is selling up, and you know that I don't get the added room block at the Grandview until our block is sold out. So don't email me if you want a room at the Grandview. I can't do anything, but we will as soon as we're sold out. The other thing I would let you know is someone just let me know there's an incredible Southwest airline sale right now for January. So if you want to get on that, that would be a good idea. And if you have any other questions, you can always send me a message on Whova, or you can ask the organizer anything.
Hey, and please send questions that are required for Corey SPAC Gal to answer. Meaning, if you can get the answer somewhere else, please try to get it somewhere else. And the reason I say that is because I know the volume of email that Corey gets for questions that oftentimes would be considered rudimentary, questions that are just like, it makes, why are they asking that? It's right there in front of them. So please just be diligent in how you frame your questions. Or is this something that really needs to be answered here, or should I look for it elsewhere?
Yes, I want to thank Dave. And I know Mark was remote right now. He was in Boston, so he had a remote signal. He probably lost it.
That's all right.
And oh yeah, Chris Garcia. Costco right now is selling a 500 Southwest gift card for $280. So that's $20 free. So you can save money that way too. Thank you very much, Chris, for keeping us in the loop on that.
Yeah.
If you have any other questions, make sure you're watching SPAC Chat. Make sure you're looking for important notifications. Photo contest signups are in January, and one-on-one coaching signups are in January. So those are the other ones. Homer, that's what Matt calls him, Homer.
Yeah.
Homer. Again, you guys, thank you so much for your time today.
Right. And then the last thing I will say, and I think that all folks will, most folks will agree, and that is that this is the type of conference with the volume of information and vendor booths and that sort of thing. This is a conference where having a co-partner, a partner with you is extremely valuable. I'm not doing this to say increase the attendance. I'm doing it mainly to say to get as much information as you can. You're already paying a room cost. So for the cost of registration, the cost of airfare, you can bring somebody with you. It's well worth it so that they can have, so they can back you up on other information in a session you might not be able to attend, or they can see something in a trade show. They say, hey, look, we need to go see that tomorrow. So it's just one of those things. More than one, it'll make the job easier on everybody. So Corey, I'm done. We're done. And these guys have been fantastic as usual. I look forward to seeing them.
Thank you guys so much. And everybody have a great day. And one last thing, go vote. It matters.
Right.
Yeah, you're right about that.
Vote for Mark Homer.
Mark Homer. All right. Have a great one, guys. Thanks a lot for being here.
Take care, guys.
All right. Bye.